Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you have had a lovely week and are looking forward to the start of a new one. If you are new here, by the way, my name is Leisha and I have been documenting my own personal leveling up journey. So I've been sharing my experience working on being more elegant and feminine and also building real generational wealth. In this week's video, I would like to share with you something that has been sort of frequently requested from me, and that is how I go about planning out my week. So I'm going to share the tools that I use with you and also some of the ways that I'm thinking just a little bit about what's going on inside my head so that I can keep making consistent progress in my leveling up journey and still meet all of my commitments that I have. I do have a full-time job, I own a home, and of course I'm married, so I do have some things that I have to commit to and I have to spend my time focusing on. I do want to get started off by sharing some of the tools that I use with you and explaining a little bit about my thought process behind the way that I use these tools. So I used to actually schedule everything for the longest time in my phone or on my computer. So my calendar was all digital and I kept all of my meetings. I even had some time blocks scheduled out for my personal things, but I just found that eventually I really didn't stick to a lot of the personal goals that I was scheduling here in my phone or on my iCal, the calendar that I specifically used. So that's when it became important for me to go back to using a paper planner. I realized that for me, when I had such a hectic schedule in university, having a paper planner and a notebook with me and actually taking the time to intentionally focus each week to write down what I had as far as my commitments and my personal goals, that actually helped me a lot to accomplish them and to remember what I was actually working on. So I do believe that for many of us, it's so important to write down your goals. I've talked a lot about journaling. In fact, I'll share my mindset routine video, I'll link it here for you if you have not seen that yet, because making sure that you stick to a schedule and you can plan what you are going to be doing with your time each week, that all starts with your mindset. Otherwise, you really kind of write things down and then end up not even caring. So that's something that I wanted to mention as well when I talked about tools. Now, the other things that I use specifically are the Lilly Pulitzer Jumbo Planner. So yes, I really did take it back to university days because I used the Lilly Pulitzer planners pretty heavily towards the end of my years in school. But I just found that I really liked the layout, and the bright colors are just fun and make it a little bit more enjoyable for me to sit down and look at this. I have tried, Brendan Burchard has a planner that I did try, which is more of a daily planner. I liked it for a little while, but it was so granular as far as scheduling out every minute of every day that for me and the way that I like to operate, I have a little bit of that creative side, and I do think it's important to have some flexibility in your schedule each day. It just sort of started to frustrate me. So this is the one that I came back to, and I've been using it now for this whole year. I like this planner because it also has an area in the very beginning where you can write down goals. So I can open that at any point in time and refresh my memory on my goals. And then I like that it also has a travel itinerary in here. I was really excited for this year. Things started to improve. So we actually do have a couple of trips planned for later this year. It's also got a space to remember important dates like birthdays, and it's got an address book as well. So I know a lot of us use our phones for things like that now, but I think there's just something elegant about writing down your loved ones' addresses into one place and having that available in your planner. I do have a notebook that I use for my daily to-do list, and I also write down any notes around certain topics or things that I am working on, which make up all the different facets of leveling up in one place. Okay, so I actually wrote, this was November 2020 on here, but it has so much space that it's taken me, this is almost full. I'm about to have to get a new one. So I can really tell you, I use this religiously. In the front section, I will do typically my daily to-do list there. And then I have this broken out into different topics. So trading and investing, that's my first topic that I have there. I have one for my freelance projects, and then I also have one for YouTube videos that I need to work on, and I have reading notes. So any books that I'm working on reading through, I like to have a place to jot down notes while I'm reading. So again, it makes it more memorable. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is I have a cup of colorful pens. I try to make this pretty to look at, so it's not just like a plastic cup. It's actually a really nice glass base that I can put all of my colorful pens into, so I can color code things between my planner and my notebook. For me, that helps me to stay more focused and to see things easier on a schedule when I have them color coded. So those are generally the tools that I use to plan. Now I'm going to get into the strategies and my thought process behind how I break everything out to do. This is generally the approach that I take. Remember, simple is feminine is my mantra for the year. I try to keep things as simple as possible as far as what I focus on and how I spend my time, even though I have a lot of commitments and a lot of things going on right now. Always remember that no matter what you're working on, keep it simple and don't get overwhelmed, okay? So my phone, what do I use my schedule and my calendar in my phone for? This is simple. It is for my work calendar and also any appointments that I need to set reminders for. So writing things down in the planner is all well and dandy, and I do keep it out on my desk every single day where I can see it. I review my to-do list every morning. But sometimes you get so deep into work or you have a meeting that runs over and you need to have that reminder that pops up or that dings and lets you know, hey, you have 30 minutes before your next appointment or 15 minutes before the next meeting, that sort of thing. So that's why I like to have a form of a digital calendar, and really that's more for work and doctor's appointments and things like that I just can't miss, okay? I don't really put personal things on the digital calendar unless I need to block it out for work. I believe that if you think about a year in quarterly or seasonal terms, there are going to be seasons that are a little bit more conducive to certain facets of leveling up, right? So for me, I knew that summer was a season that I was most challenged with my wardrobe in, okay? And so that's why you've seen me recently, I've uploaded some content around my wardrobe. Summer is where I would typically take out my ripped jeans, my tube tops, my flip-flops, and I wouldn't do my makeup or hair typically. So it's a season that I know I have some improvement to make in my wardrobe and my appearance, and I focus a little bit more on that. Another example would be networking. During the holidays, there are typically more events and opportunities going on to network, and where I live, it's a bit cooler, so there's just a lot more going on, okay? And I know that during those winter months, that might be a better time for me to worry more and focus more on networking. Now, are there opportunities around us every single day of the year, every season? Of course there are, and so if some of those pop up, I will make a commitment to attend, or I'll make a commitment to focus on something if it's a good opportunity. But I'm not as concerned with it as I would be if I know that, hey, this season, this is my focus, and so on and so forth. Finances and building wealth, that is ongoing. That is a big priority, and really there are some important things to be doing every single month, like paying your bills and allocating funds to your investments and savings and that sort of thing. So on a month-to-month basis, that's when I'm really looking at making sure that I'm contributing with my husband to those financial goals and projects that we may be working on. So now for each week, here's what I will do. So based off of any of the standing appointments I have that are really sort of set time frames that I don't want to move around, their commitments, I schedule everything around that, and of course my 9-to-5 block for my full-time job. I do schedule in my lunch breaks and my meal times, and of course my big priorities like fitness and making sure that I have some time allocated every single day to work on my health and make sure that I'm taking care of myself, because that's something that all elegant women and elite women must be doing, is spending that time daily to take care of yourself. If you haven't seen my morning routine, I will link that up here, but typically I am doing a lot of my mindset and fitness in the mornings. I will enjoy an evening yoga class here and there. So again, I schedule that in depending on the day of the week that it is. And once that is set, then I know how much time I have left in blocks that I can work on other efforts that are part of my leveling up journey. So for instance, I decided recently to start another trading and investing course and work on building some more skills around that. And that takes up 2 hours every night of the week. It's a live class, so I know that that is going on my weekly schedule, and I write that in every Sunday night. It's important to spend, again, that intentional time focusing on your weekly schedule and really mapping that out according to any commitments that you have. Once I have my weekly set schedule and I can see how much time I am working with that I can use to focus on my leveling up activities, then I can go back and I can look and say, okay, I think that Monday night after work, if I am not taking that course, like I mentioned, I could spend an hour reading this book or watching this YouTube series on finances or whatever it may be, okay? And so that's typically what I'll do. Same thing if I'm focusing on networking that week, I can focus that time in on maybe going to a networking event or trying to go and spend some time at the country club. I think that a lot of us maybe believe we don't have time, but what I wanted to say is that when you look at your weekly commitments and you look at those things that you have set in stone, maybe you have children that you know you have to take back and forth to certain things. Once you look at those things that are you're committed to, then you can really start to see, well, okay, here's how I can prioritize and spend my time in this manner to meet my own personal goals in leveling up. And if it's important to you and you need to write it down. If it's important to you, you need to write it down, and you need to be doing that mindset work every single day so that you don't let that fall by the wayside. I do believe too that people will always make time for what it is they want to truly make time for. I think that when we say like we don't have time for this or that, it really means that you don't want to make time right now. I think that there are some things that we may come across that we are currently committed to that you could drop, or you could maybe not have so high up on your priority list anymore. So it's really important to be clear and assess what your priorities are for not only just the week, but as a whole, so that you know how you can spend that extra precious time that you have. Now, the last thing, again, I said I do a daily to-do list here in my notebook. So I know that some days I don't have as much free time to focus on leveling up as others. So I don't overload myself. I might have 3 priorities, but I might have like one of those be a bonus priority to do that day. It's not do or die. So let's say I know I need to take out some stuff from my closet to purge to list on Poshmark, right? That's not do or die. It's not going to really make that much of a dent in my life if I don't get those, 5 things out of my closet to list. It will help and be great if that does happen, but it's not something that is necessary. So that way I can keep it pretty simple and I don't have to stress myself out so much. And again, don't schedule every single minute of the day because you never know when things pop up. Every woman needs to have the space to maybe just daydream. If nothing is popping up in your life, if something doesn't come down to an emergency where you're getting pulled away, really try and manage distractions as much as possible so that doesn't happen, and use time blocks to your advantage. So I really don't pick up my social media except for certain times during the day. I don't want to get caught on that, and I set really strong boundaries around that for my mental health, but I do love it, and so I don't want to eliminate it completely. I have some set time for that. So again, anything that you can do to minimize those distractions and those things that might pop up and take time away from your leveling up schedule, do that and put that in place. Just a little bit of a time management tidbit there for you. To recap, it's all around what are my commitments, what are my priorities, having all of those written down on my weekly schedule, spending that intentional time, usually on Sundays, to go ahead and look at the week and think about how I'm going to spend that time. And then last but not least, on a daily basis, every morning, making that part of your morning routine is to review your day and set those sort of 3 priorities for the day that you would love to get accomplished. So I think that about wraps it up for this video. I hope that gives you some further insight into how I plan and organize for my week. I am going to link a couple of other videos here on the screen for you in case you have not caught up on those yet. Again, please subscribe if you're new here and you would like to follow along with my journey. I upload every Sunday. Give this video a thumbs up, and maybe I will dive a little bit more next time into some time management sort of topics and how I manage my distractions a bit more specifically. I will see you next time. Bye.